zookeeper is abusing the ape, but the situation is a bit different.
No!
Have you ever seen a talking ape? In the zoo, two highly intelligent gorillas are discussing how to escape. Caesar tells Maurice that only by gorillas uniting can they escape the cage. Maurice, however, mentions that many gorillas are too dumb. Caesar falls into thought after hearing this. At that moment, the nearby administrator enters the password to leave, and Caesar happens to see the password and firmly memorizes it. In the dead of night, Caesar opens the iron door, climbs up the passage, turns the handle, opens the skylight, and in the next second, climbs out onto the dome. But he doesn't intend to escape himself. Instead, he quietly returns to his owner's home, carefully opens the fridge door, and finds the latest developed drug that can make gorillas even smarter. Soon after returning to the prison, Caesar breaks open the drug and throws them out. Soon, the mist of the drug filled the entire cage. The next day, all the gorillas woke up surprisingly quiet. Caesar silently watched, then went to the exit to carefully observe their eyes. Seeing their eyes full of wisdom, Caesar knew he had succeeded. But just as Caesar was organizing the gorillas for a meeting, the nearby director saw them. Caesar, seeing the director, quickly dispersed the gorillas, and the director left without suspicion. That night, as the administrators were feeding the gorillas, they found Caesar outside the cage, staring straight at him. He walked over with electric batons, and at the same time, a sniper ran to a high platform to prepare to shoot Caesar. But Caesar was already in the blind spot, allowing the administrators to beat him without leaving the area. Seeing Caesar being beaten, the apes were indignant. Just as the administrators were about to attack again, Caesar unexpectedly grabbed one.
Thinking far off me, you damn dirty ape!
Just then,
No!
the ape speaking shocked everyone present. Caesar then knocked down the administrator with a punch. By the way, if you enjoy our movie recaps, we're currently hosting a giveaway for our audience. We're excited to announce that a brand new scooter awaits one lucky subscriber. Don't miss out. Subscribe and follow us to stay tuned for more updates. Immediately afterward, he returned to the cage and released all the gorillas. The former leader, Rocket, completely surrendered at this moment. As the liberated gorillas spotted the sniper, one of them leaped forward and pulled him down. The next moment was a brutal beating. Just as it seemed they might take a life, Caesar hurried over to stop them, locking the man in a cage. But turning back, he saw another person waking up. As the man grabbed an electric baton, Caesar grabbed a water gun. As the baton and high-pressure water gun were activated simultaneously, the man was shocked unconscious. Seeing a tag nearby reminded Caesar of his companions in the laboratory. So, he released the giant ape buck into the courtyard, then led all the gorillas to break out of the windows and flee the cage. They arrived at the highway to observe, preparing to rescue their companions and head through the city to the redwood forest. Caesar instructed the gorillas to act as a team, led by him and Rocket, to the building. Their first action upon entry was to destroy all the surveillance in the lab and rescue their fellow primates. The belated boss, witnessing the chaos before him, fell into despair. Looking up, he saw the upper floors filled with gorillas staring at him. Droves of gorillas broke out of windows, preparing to join the others on the opposite side. The boss hastily called the police to exterminate them. Meanwhile, Caesar was leading the gorillas to the redwood forest, unaware that the police had already arrived. Upon seeing them, Caesar ordered the gorillas to climb up the building immediately, but one injured gorilla was still shot. As the police dragged him into the car to take him away, suddenly a spear pierced through the bottom of the car. It was Caesar, with apes holding spears on the rooftop. The next moment, countless spears were nailed into the car. After rescuing their companion, Caesar swiftly led the gorillas to retreat, leaving Buck and Morris to hold the rear. As the vehicles appeared in view, Morris and Buck improvised weapons, with Morris tossing a manhole cover to disable a car, then Buck forcefully throwing an iron pillar to blow up the car's engine. Then, they both joined the others at the convergence point. At this moment, the four leaders gathered together, and under Caesar's leadership, the apes prepared to cross the bridge to the redwood forest. However, unbeknownst to them, the police had already deployed a large number of forces at the exit, and were driving them from behind with cavalry. Caesar also noticed this at the moment. He ordered the guerrillas to stop, and, after discussing the plan with Maurice, decided to divide their forces into 3 routes. One led by Koba would advance above the bridge, another led by strategist Maurice would pass from below, and the remaining group led by Caesar would confront the cavalry. As Buck roared, he charged directly into the horses to withstand the attack. Just as Buck was about to tear apart the man, Caesar intervened to stop this reckless behavior. Meanwhile, on the other side, Koba had led the apes to climb to the top of the bridge, but one ape was shot down under the bridge. Maurice saw his companion fall and immediately ordered the apes to accelerate through. At this moment, Will was rushing over and a battle was about to begin on the bridge. Seeing all the apes behind him, Caesar immediately gestured for them to overturn the bus and use it as a shield to advance. The soldiers, seeing the bus in the fog, immediately opened fire, but the apes blocked all the attacks with the bus. Just as the police were contemplating what was happening, Caesar rode out on a warhorse through the mist. With Caesar's command, Koba, who had been waiting, descended from above, while the guerrillas under the bridge rushed up to join the battle. A stunning battle officially began at this moment. Rocket flashed into the car, throwing the officers out, but he seemed to recall Caesar's advice and did not kill them outright. Meanwhile, Caesar was commanding the battlefield. As Buck dragged the man out and threw him into the sea, the humans were frightened and fled. Under Caesar's command, the guerrillas successfully won the battle, and at this moment, Will finally arrived. He halted Caesar, who was celebrating, but at that moment, a helicopter appeared not far from the bridge. Caesar immediately prepared for battle, but the intense firepower that followed caused extensive casualties among the apes. Caesar could only take cover behind a car, but he would not let others trample upon them. He promptly opened the car door, searched for suitable weapons inside, and emerged with an iron chain, disregarding his own safety to protect the apes. As the chain flew out, 2 men fell instantly. However, the driver pulled out a handgun and began shooting. Buck roared and quickly pushed Caesar aside, taking all the shots himself. Then, regardless of his own life, he crossed the bridge. The helicopter lost control and crashed into the bridge. Caesar immediately ran forward, pulling Buck down, but his once loyal brother lay motionless, plunging Caesar into extreme sorrow. However, the tranquility was shattered by a dog's bark. Caesar looked on coldly and then turned away, leaving the matter to Koba. In the laboratory, where Koba had suffered so much, how could he let the evil boss off lightly? Koba slowly extended his foot. After resolving everything, Caesar led the apes to the redwood forest. As they entered the mist, Will quickly ran to the police car and drove off. Will entered the redwood forest to find Caesar, but was unexpectedly knocked down by Koba from above. Just as Koba was about to harm Will, Caesar rushed in and knocked Koba away. Seeing Koba still attempting to resist, Caesar's stern expression intimidated him into backing off. Then, Caesar reached out and helped Will up. Will's purpose in coming here was not only to apologize to Caesar, but also to invite him back home. Caesar knew the man before him had done him a great kindness, which stirred his heart. However, when he looked at his companions in the jungle, Caesar pulled Will close.
Mamba out.
Will was stunned to hear Caesar speak. realizing he couldn't keep Caesar here. So, he generously let Caesar go. Caesar, with sadness in his eyes, returned to his ape family, where all the gorillas revered him. Caesar had become their leader, and he would use the wisdom of the apes to develop their homeland. Several years passed, and the world had changed significantly. Caesar rode on horseback, leading his people to the territory of the humans.
Apes! Do not want war, but will fight. If we must.
After saying this, he had his son return the backpack they had found to them.
Ape! Home! Human! Soul! Do not come back.
After Caesar drew the line with the humans, he led his army away. At this point, everyone in the city became extremely panicked. They feared an ape attack. The mayor immediately picked up a megaphone to reassure the people. However, this had no effect on the humans who were suffering from food and power shortages. Due to the lack of electricity, they couldn't communicate with the outside world, and the only functioning hydroelectric station was near the apes. So, the mayor prepared to attack and eliminate the apes. But Mal, who had met Caesar, believed that negotiation was the best option. So, the next day, he drove into the depths of the forest, bidding farewell to the people. Alone, he went up the mountain to find Caesar. As the negotiations continued, he reached the apes' territory and was soon brought before Caesar by the gorillas. Mal immediately expressed that he meant no offense and explained that humans were about to face extinction without electricity, which was necessary for survival and reproduction. Koba vehemently expressed disbelief in humans and advocated for their elimination. To test whether humans were lying, Caesar followed Mal to an hydroelectric station. The man argued that humans truly needed energy and that fixing these facilities would restore it.
Is any of this making any sense to you?
Having grown up in human households, Caesar understood the importance of electricity. Ultimately, the kind-hearted Caesar chose to believe in humans and agreed to let them go up the mountain to repair the hydroelectric station. The only condition was that humans must surrender all their weapons. However, Koba, who despised humans, remained suspicious. He informed Caesar that humans would become even more dangerous with electricity and questioned why Caesar wanted to help them. Caesar explained that they had no other choice. If they drove humans away, they would inevitably return in the future to attack for resources. Koba, seeing Caesar standing firm, reluctantly acquiesced. The next morning, Caesar arrived at the riverside worksite, but didn't find Koba. Maurice informed Caesar that Koba went hunting in a huff. Unbeknownst to them, Koba took this opportunity to sneak into human territory and discovered humans inspecting guns to determine their numbers. In order to figure out the quantity of firearms, Koba entered a warehouse but was almost caught by humans. He stared fiercely at them, but another person arrived. In a moment of crisis, Koba stuck out his tongue to appear harmless, causing the humans to relax their guard, thinking he was just a silly monkey, and allowed him to leave. On the other side, the reservoir, unused for years, had accumulated debris inside. The only way to enter and place explosives was through the entrance. However, a sudden explosion buried several individuals inside. Caesar immediately led a rescue team to help them. Afterwards, he brought them to the riverside to recuperate. Unexpectedly, Caesar's young son discovered firearms. Seeing his brother in danger, the gorilla Blue Eyes entered a tense state, but was threatened at gunpoint by one of the men. Caesar swiftly knocked the man down and seized the gun.
Don't, Caesar, no! No!
Despite the humans' violation of the agreement, Kind-hearted Caesar chose not to harm them and simply threw the firearms into the river, driving them back to human territory. As for what happens next, stay tuned for the next episode.